Hi there. Thank you for purchasing Bolt Buster 2X, the high-power handheld induction heating tool. Today we're going to go over some operating tips, some do's and don'ts with our tool, because it's just like any other tool. You can use it the right way and it'll be your best friend, or if you use it the wrong way, it's not going to be your friend. So we're going to go over some basic tips. Now, we would really like you to go over and get out of your kit this little sheet of paper here. This is your quick start guide, this yellow sheet of paper. And if you kind of read this over as I'm talking here, I think you'll get more out of the demo. Okay, the other thing I should point out is that, again, always read your operating and safety instructions. Like any other tool, you really want to read these to make sure you use the tool safely and effectively. The first thing you need to know is how to put in an attachment into the high power Bolt Buster 2X. The way you do that is you simply slip it into the two holes here in the aluminum heat sinks, and you tighten these screws. To remove an attachment, you do the opposite. Just take it out, and you can put the same tool back in, of course, or you can change to a different size tool, which is normally what you'll be doing. So just to give you an idea of how quickly this tool heats, we're going to put in the right sized work coil for a nice wet rusted nut and bolt here. Okay, so in order to turn the tool on, all you have to do is push this red button right here. When you do that, it turns the tool on. Release the button, it turns off. Pretty simple. So here we go. We're going to put the bolt, the nut, inside of the work coil. Now you notice I've picked the right coil because it fits. There's a little bit of slop in there, not a lot of slop. And if you pick the right work coil, the tool's going to last longer for you. It's going to heat much faster for you, and you're going to be happy. So here we go. In about 10 or so seconds, we're going to see that nut turning red hot. Now really, we're going to overheat it more. You don't even want to get it this hot, but you see, what I'm trying to show is that we have expansion going for us. The nut is getting red hot. It's growing away from the stud, which is staying cool. Now, why is that important? That is what helps loosen up the nut. It makes the nut expand, makes the nut get bigger. And that's what makes it really easy to get off. Now, if you overheat it, the danger is, if that nut is overheated, any nut is overheated, you're going to soften the metal. And if you overheat it and soften the metal too much, when you put a wrench on there, you're going to round off your flats, and you're going to be really mad at us. So don't do that. Just until you get basically red hot. We're going to show that to you again. I'm going to show you this time just how hot you need to get it. Just as soon as we start to see a little bit of red, that's when it's time to take off the heat tool, just about like that. A little bit of red like that. That's all you need. Put your wrench on there, buzzer right off. Well, I can't say too much about picking the right work coil for the right size nut or bolt. For example, let's say that we put in this large work coil. Let's say we try to heat up a small nut. Guys could probably already figure out that's not going to work real well, but let's just show how poorly that works. It does get hot, but we're going to be taking a long time in order to accomplish anything. We may be heating a lot of other things around here. We really don't want to get hot. So this is the wrong work coil. See, even now it's not red hot. This is not what we want to do. It did heat it, but it did not heat it effectively, did not heat it the way we want it to heat it. So let's show what happens with the right work coil. Again, how do you pick the right work coil? The right work coil should just allow the nut to slip into the work coil with a little bit of slop, maybe like 1/8 of an inch of slop or so. Okay, so we're going to show how much better the right work coil heats. It's not as critical as using a wrench, but you want to get approximately the right size as we're showing you. That's going to really help you out. I'm going to show you how much faster this is going to heat. Oh, red already. How about that for fast heat? But that's what happens when you use the right work coil. We provide a whole bunch of different work coils, all kinds of different work coils. This one is good for heating up something like a pipe or something, if something is curved, for example. This one over here is useful for auto body work if you want to heat a flat metal surface. And the key thing if you're using this guy on a painted surface is to always keep it moving. Always keep it moving and then test. See if you've got enough heat to remove the vinyl graphic or the body side molding or whatever you're trying to remove. It's very important to keep it moving and then test. Test, test, test. You don't want to overheat. The paint is, you'll start damaging paint about 390 Fahrenheit, but any adhesive will remove about below 250. So you've got quite a range. You've got over 100 degrees, but the idea is to keep it moving. Okay, so let's say that we didn't give you, as I started to say, if we didn't give you the right coil. You can easily make your own coil with the help of a vise and a deep well socket. We provide in each kit a wire that you can form all by yourself. And so what you do is you make about 6 inches or so, you make yourself a nice little right angle bend, and you can wind it clockwise or counterclockwise, it doesn't matter, just as I'm showing you here. And you want about 2.5 turns. There we go. So that's how you can make your own work coil. This is an example of a work coil that needs to be replaced. The fiberglass insulation is coming apart, and that exposes the copper wire inside, and that can short out. If you use it like this, ordinarily it's not going to hurt the tool, but you don't want to keep using it in a severely shorted case, because eventually something's going to break. It also becomes more of a fire hazard. Just to show you, you see the sparks? This is what you don't want. When the work coil, when you start seeing sparks like this, even though it's still working, getting the nut red hot, it's time to throw this guy away. So that's just what we're going to do. I don't think we talk about this attachment here. This is a piece of flexible cable. It's very, very flexible. It's not rigid like the other wire. You can wrap it up and unwrap it all you want. Now the only limitation on this is you can't get anything red hot because you will damage the internal insulation of this wire. So it's real important to kind of limit yourself to about 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Now where would you use something like that? Okay, well let's say you're trying to remove the bearing out of a bearing tube, like the rear end of a Ford truck, for example. One of the axle bearings. Well, what you want to do in that case is you want to get the axle tube hot, just so that it grows, expands away a little bit from the bearing. Then you can use your slide hammer, wham, 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 pull your bearing out. So I'm just going to demonstrate how this tool works with this little bucket of water, just so we can kind of see what it's all about. Again, we don't want to get anything anywhere near red hot with this tool, because that's going to ruin it. Okay, so maybe 2-3 wraps, something like that. That's all you really need around your axle tube. We're kind of simulating the axle tube with this little bucket of water. Push the button, and you'll see the water start to boil. So that's basically how that works. So this is a real useful tool for things that you can't get a coil around. And this tool we call our MagnaGuide. This is real good for heating flat surfaces, whereas the rest of the tools are good for heating round or semicircular surfaces. Nuts, bolts, that sort of thing, pipes. We came out with this tool because people wanted a a tool that'll heat a flat surface intensely red hot. So I just pop the tool back in, tighten the two nuts. That's always real important. Make sure the nuts are good and snug. You don't have to crank them down extremely hard. Just make sure they're snug while using the tool. Make a good connection. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the side of this metal bucket red hot. As you can see there, it works pretty fast. Boil some water if you like. So again, it works real fast. You got to be careful with it so you don't overheat stuff. So let's just talk about some basics. This tool is designed for operating for about 2 minutes on with a 2-minute off or cooling period. If for whatever reason you push the button and the tool doesn't come on anymore, you may well have overheated if you were using it for a long period of time, if you're taking out nut after nut, bolt after bolt. If it stops working, just lay it aside for 5 or 10 minutes because you probably have overheated it. The other thing is, it is normal for the unit to get warm. There's a little power supply in here that does that, and the warmth actually helps keep the tool dry. It helps chase the moisture out of the tool because these tools are going to be used in an automotive environment. It's going to be moist, it's wet, so forth. Obviously, you don't want to get any water into the tool, just like any other electrical appliance. Definitely don't want to do that. A word about extension cords. Always use a heavy-duty extension cord, not like a little lamp cord or something. You want a cord that's, robust. If it's a short cord, you could use a number 16, maybe like up to 20 feet. If you're going up to 50 feet, you want to use a really heavy, like a number 12 extension cord, because that'll give you the most power. You don't want that power to get lost in the cord. You want that power to go to the tool. Periodic maintenance. Well, there's really not a lot to it. We already talked about not letting water or foreign debris getting into it, but there are two little entryways here where you put in a 5/32 Allen wrench. And what this does, when you tighten these, you're making sure that the internal connections on these aluminum heat sinks that go to the high frequency transformer are good and tight. You only want to have to do this maybe every month or so. Depends upon how hard you use the tool, but every once in a while. If you use the tool a lot, maybe every couple days. If you use the tool only once in a while, maybe once a month. Just make sure that they're snug. You don't have to torque them like crazy. Just make sure they're snug. That'll keep the tool from having any problems overheating on the inside or those terminals arcing out. Again, like any electrical connection, you want to be good and solid and tight at all times you're using the tool. To kind of conclude here, this quick start kind of gives you some ideas how to use our tool, some of the limitations, and mainly, please read your owner's manual. Thank you for purchasing Bolt Buster, the most powerful induction heating tool on the market today.